Phil Spencer had a brand new interview that he did at Summer Game Fest play days or right after. It was right around the same time. All right. We've obviously you've heard from Sarah Bond this week, bringing up the beautiful notion of our future at Xbox, all of our next gen handhelds and consoles and devices all working together, everything being done to support our gaming hobby, right? Over on Xbox, we have everything. It's all beautiful. She confirmed everything we ever dreamed of for our next generation console. She basically confirmed Hargeet's theory that's been how long? How long has he been saying that Xbox was going to have OEMs, other companies making stuff? It started, boom, immediately with ROG Ally, right? The ROG Xbox Ally, boom, already confirmed 100%. Hargeet was right. But then she came out talking about other Xbox consoles, right? Other ones, right? It's pretty clear that we know what's going on. And so we had that happen. Then we had Lisa from AMD come out, and she not only kind of repeated that, but also added more and just really talked about how far they're going to go with this. And then you got Phil Spencer, who's, obviously the head of all of the Xbox operation and the gaming for Microsoft. And honestly, at this point, I think it's time for anyone who's not on the boat to get in the boat. You know what I'm saying? Like, that saying that like there was like this big flood and like the lady was trapped on the roof of the house, and like a boat came by and it's like, come on, come in, I'll save you. And she's like, no, God's gonna save me, right? So the boat leaves, then another boat comes by and says, no, God's gonna save me, right? And then that one leaves, and then the third boat comes by and says, no, God's gonna save me. And then the boat leaves and she drowns. Yeah, right. She dies, she goes up to heaven, she meets God, says, yo, what happened? I thought you were gonna save me. And he's like, bitch, I sent you 3 boats, right?
It wasn't said like that.
So Sarah was the first boat. Okay, Lisa is the second boat, and Phil is your third boat. So it's time to either get the fuck on or just drown in your, not in real life, drown in your gaming hobby. Okay, just let it go away. Just forget it. Okay, you're more interested in playing a fake war that you lost. Okay, the game's over. Xbox took the war and threw it in the trash and shit on it. You know what I'm saying? All at the same time. Okay, so
Kate wants to know if the boats were La Niña, La Pinta, and Santa Maria.
Possible. Oh my God. So let's go ahead and let's bring Phil into the picture here. He had a awesome interview with the homie Jeff Rubenstein, who I did in fact get to kind of hang out with a little bit at Summer Games Fest, so that was cool. But let's go through it now. We're not gonna watch like the whole thing because there's certain things they're gonna talk about which are like whatever. But I do. Come on, don't be a punk ass. Wait. All right. So we don't need an introduction. We get it. Xbox 2025. Let's see what he feels. And we'll talk about it every time we kind of move on.
Things are as we, got on a plane. How are you feeling about the year?
I feel really good. I think 2025 is an exciting year for us. Maybe I'll start for us as a team. I think our first party teams have done amazing work so far this year. When you think about the launches that we've had, we're investing in a new form factor, piece of hardware for us with our partners at ASUS, which means on our side, we have a lot of design work that we did with them. We did a lot of kind of operating system work that continues the Xbox experience on that. These are areas we're investing. I think Game Pass is having an amazing year. I think when I look at Xbox Play Anywhere and how much that's showing up in the show, there's so many things that are working for us right now. And our jobs inside the company is to run a good business. We're accountable to Microsoft for running a good business, a healthy business that continues to grow at both top line and bottom line. That's kind of a foundation for us. And what that does is it allows us to continue to invest in Xbox for our community of players and creators. And that we're doing. It does mean we have to make trade-offs. through the year on things that we're going to invest more in, things that we're not going to invest as much in, because it is kind of, we are the business that we are, but the business is having really good success. I even think to the last quarter, and some of the stats that Satya Nadella, my boss, the CEO of Microsoft, Amy Hood, the CFO, went through, talking about how the business is growing. And I'm just really proud of the scale of the Xbox business right now. It's obviously never been as big as it is now, and how it's really delivering for our players, our creators, and the company. And it's a strong position.
And I don't think our players have ever had.
Real quick, so let's pause it there real quick, because he said a couple interesting things. Well, obviously, first of all, 2025 has been amazing, right? I think we can all agree that 2025, this is probably one of the best years in gaming right now, right? Like, I think this is just the factual information for Xbox, right? They're just crushing it. We have so much like high quality content that has been given to us and that is coming, right? But he made a little blip there, and I'm interested in kind of your thoughts on it. He said something about what they'll be investing in, right? And there's like a trade-off. Some things they're going to be able to invest in, and then some things they're not going to be able to invest in too much, right? And I hear that, and then I try to think about Xbox in general and what's happening. And like I don't think I understand. I don't think I see where that scenario exists that they're not investing in. So like what do you guys think when you hear him say that there's a trade-off? Some things they're going to invest in, some things they can't invest in, as in that much. Like what are we thinking that means? Are there any inkling? Like, do you have any thoughts on it? Because I can't think of one. I don't see where they're losing anything. Oh,
I'm trying to hear it back. I'm trying to think
real quick.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Let me put this. Powerball's kind of put this out here. Not investing in physical as much.
That makes sense.
A little ago, Machine XP put in something that was actually very telling here as well. Wow, no teleprompter. In comparison to what the business update for PlayStation was, wow, did that just seem like weird when they were talking, right? It's like, and this is what we're doing, and then this, like, they were literally reading off of teleprompters. You could absolutely tell.
It was so wild. Herman Holtz was like looking everywhere and then back into focus.
They're fragile right now.
Yeah,
investors really are shook, and they can't risk saying the wrong thing.
Exactly.
So that's why it's all teleprompted out.
It's a lot of lies they're putting out there as well, though. A lot of bullshit.
I don't know if it's lies because it's a financial update, but like they definitely went into areas that you're like, you're really gonna say that? Okay, but whatever. What is interesting though is if you're at that level, you're kind of expected to be able to off the cuff respond, right? So like how Phil, you don't think Phil had all these answers in his head already? He absolutely did. All these questions absolutely have been, worked through. That this is not something that they just did. I just randomly came up with questions to my boss. No. Everything here is scripted. Yep. He just knows the answers, and he can naturally say them. Right? That is like you have to have that ability. And like the other side. No. Look, to be fair, for both of those individuals, English is not their primary language, so maybe that's why they're doing that. So. Fine, maybe that's why that's that way. I just
Herman Holst.
Herman Holst is from Amsterdam, right? He's in the Netherlands, right? So he is not, English is not his primary language. And then for obviously Nishino, it's Japanese would be his primary language, right? But either way, like at that level, you just expect, and this is why it's better to actually have them speak in Japanese. Then go ahead and speak in Japananyes, right? And then like have somebody translate, because it feels natural. It's just so weird to have them like read off a teleprompter like that. Like, oh my God, that was so weird. But anyways, I just thought I'd call that out. Yes, Machine XP. Wow, no teleprompter. Yes, it does actually mean something.
So do
because
we think
they're not hiding anything? That's what it is.
Exactly. He knows it. He knows what he's gonna say.
The idea of talking about marathon as if they're just like, putting things together. Like, we know the mess that's taking place over there. We know the issues that you guys have. If you went ahead and took out everything that you took from, that artist, then potentially you have a lot to do, right? So they
an interesting
obviously
question
can't
there,
come
Doodle.
out
Is
here
that a
and be
lie?
straightforward about that. So there are a lot of hidden truths, right?
Yeah.
Put
I
it
wonder if you could
in
consider
a
that a
different
lie,
way.
right? Because it was what, like a week later, not even, that they said, "Oh, indefinite delay." It's like you're the like manager of all those studios. You didn't know that?
So he said, so this is the thing that they're trying to save him on, right? He said fiscal year, this next fiscal year, not calendar year. So he didn't say in September, he said in this fiscal year. So assuming that the fiscal year goes from sometime now to sometime maybe February, March, April,
It's
some shit like
March,
that.
end of March. Yeah, it's end of
Okay,
March.
so end of March. So theoretically, if they delay and still release by March, it wasn't a lie.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
However, it's coming out in January. It's an indefinite delay. Indefinite. It's like he has
But they
to have
don't
known
say
that.
those words, right? So Marathon,
has
like
to have
the
known
Marathon themselves, don't
no
say indefinite, and we
Yeah.
know that, but they don't say that. They actually say, in the next coming months, we're gonna have more play tests and all this shit, and we're gonna announce the release date in the next few months. So that's the way they frame it. Is that gonna happen? I don't know. They started sending out invites to play test again, but it's under NDA again. So obviously it's regressing, it's going backwards, and I don't think you move.
Oh yeah, of course it is. They're redoing the game.
Going backwards, exactly.
They're redoing the game. There's no way around it. Like the game just did not resonate, obviously. So
Yep.
they're redoing the game. The only problem is, okay, is that going to be short term? Whatever. This is a mess.
Who cares, man?
Doesn't
Back to
sound like
Xbox.
term.
Back
That's
to
the thing.
Xbox.
You're right,
Yeah.
Demo. Who cares? The thing is that there's no hype, and then when you think about what can they change, you also don't feel like they can change. You don't have a definite answer, as if there's nothing that can be changed to make this game work.
Facts.
Yep. I think that the best way to make this game work is by canceling it, and not doing it. And it sounds mean, but I think that's the best for Marathon. I mean, you know what they can do, and we won't believe it, but the developers will. They could dress it up as something else and give you something else with whatever assets they have, and then just tweak here, tweak there. Sort of like, remember when you had to copy your homework, but you had to make it different enough so that the teacher would. Wow. That's exactly what they could do, man. Bro. Damn you ponies.
So outside of physical, that's what Power Boss kind of brought up, right? So he's saying maybe do you think that's what he might be referencing? Because I really don't see anything else, because they're doing nothing but giving us more.
I'll give you some trade-offs. Like one that keeps coming up is the ability to do recording on the console, right? Okay, cool. They could go work on that. Instead, they're working on how do you make Windows better and integrate that feature set into the console, right? So, those are trade-offs you have to make, right? So, that team is focusing on how do we make Windows have a console experience. While they're doing that, how do we make the compatibility work with Windows and with console so that we can bring those stores over to the console, so we can bring the back compat library over to Windows, right? So these are the things they're working on and concentrating on. Whether that merges in the future or not, I don't know, but right now that's what they're working on, right? So that is a trade-off, right? If you want like the recording feature to be better, that's something they could do, but they're not doing that. Another one I hear commonly is the achievements aren't as cool as trophies. I don't understand that, but whatever, fine. If you want that change to happen, that's something they would have to concentrate on. They're not. They're like leaving that alone. So that's the trade-off, right? So there are always trade-offs. Things
that makes sense,
but like it's fair. What they're working on seems to be the right priorities. Making it so you can play your games everywhere. That's cool. The cloud is another one. I don't know what they're doing in that one. Are they focusing on it or not focusing on it or whatever?
Well, they are. That's part of the announcement from Sarah and Lisa, right? They already said next gen, like the cloud.
They're working through what that would look like in the next gen, right? So like those are the kind of trade-offs you have, right? So should they make the current one better, or say it is what it is, and we will work on a next gen version of it, and that will be where it becomes better, right? These are the trade-offs you have to play through, right? Some things they could say we're going to port it back to the series consoles, even go back to Xbox One consoles, and some things are like, we'll just make that next gen, and we'll worry about that when we get there, right? So those are the kind of things I would see, right? So there are going to be things, right? So right now they're also concentrating on how they could take to Windows 12. They're going to see if they can bring Quick Resume over to Windows 12. That's another feature that they're working on. So that's, again, yet another trade-off, right? So those are the kind of things, right? So things that we may not even realize that they're working on as next-gen features, right? So they've, not decided to do things on the Xbox Series consoles as much, right? So if you notice, we don't get as many new features on the current consoles because they've shifted to say, let's put that in the next gen. So those are the trade-offs you would look at, right?
That makes sense.
So
all right, let's continue. Unless there's anybody else who has anything else with trade-offs.
You're like, you're not fucking with my games, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what, like that. I don't see the game. They're focusing heavy on their games and they're focusing on what's next, and I think that's all that matters to us. But you can appreciate
even on games they are focusing, right? They're saying, hey, like I won't be doing games that don't make sense, but I will be focusing on games that people want to be attracted to the platform. Fair enough, right? So that is again the choice. So
I guess as far as they're concerned, maybe they are talking to the people who keep crying. I feel like Phil's such a good dude that he's coming out here and just addressing people with one little line, like, "Hey, you're begging for shit that nobody wants. Stop asking for banjo." You know what I'm saying? Shit like that.
Which may show up, right? Who knows? That may just show up out of nowhere.
Oh my god! Please don't do it, man.
Yeah, I know.
Focus on something else, man.
Let's continue.
So much to play in a given year. Just so far this year, we've experienced Avowed, South of Midnight, Oblivion remaster. We got to surprise everyone and just like have an amazing time with reliving that world. Doom: The Dark Ages, and then next month we're gonna have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, followed by Grounded 2, Gears of War Reloaded, Ninja Gaiden 4, Keeper, and it goes on and on. And it's an incredible year. It's something we're as a player, I'm certainly enjoying. But like, is this the plan? Like playing out before our eyes?
Yeah, definitely getting the first party teams supported so they can go build the games that they envision, that they want to build at the level of quality. It's not just about quantity of games. I also love the diversity when I look at the portfolio that we have.
First of all, what a slap. What is a huge backhanded slap to PlayStation, saying it's about the quality, not just the quantity, except
we have both.
We have all the quantity,
quantity and
the quality, and you have no quantity and no quality. Wow, Phil, he's a killer.
I think for us, in looking at the months and the year and making sure that we've got the right games at the right time, we're pacing the portfolio is always good learning and growth for us. But when I look at what the teams are able to deliver now, I'm just so proud. I think they're sharing ideas among themselves. They're learning and building on technology that each other is sharing, whether it's the coalition doing Unreal work for so many teams or the id Tech work that gets shared between the teams, really allowing our first party teams to
hold on. id Tech work getting shared amongst the teams?
Mm-hmm.
Did he just casually tell us that there are other games in the pipeline that are using id Tech that is not?
Well, I mean, Machine Games already uses id Tech, right? So that's what an indie was built on.
Yeah, but that's one team, and
then theoretically there's the id Tech port that runs the Call of Duty series. So the Call of Duty engine is id Tech, but has been heavily modified to be Call of Duty engine. But underneath the hoods, it's id Tech, and I wonder if they're like looking at how do we combine efforts and like bring it together again. Now they're under the same umbrella, right? It's possible that they might say, hey, well, the stuff that you worked on, because let's face it, like the id Tech engine is slightly ahead when it comes to capabilities and then performance, right? So even though Call of Duty looks stunning, it does, but it doesn't do the same level of capabilities that id Tech does. So they could be working on, why not? Let's bring it over. Let's remerge. We have a team dedicated to it, and maybe we expand that team to be the Call of Duty id Tech engine team, right? That just continues to expand that engine, and then they can leverage it internally, right? They don't have to pay Unreal for everything that they make, right? So, and id Tech is a stunningly awesome engine. It's really like the amount of things that it pulls off. Path tracing's out, by the way, for those who want to play it on PC. The Doom Dark Ages path tracing patch is out.
Is that? Have you tried it?
I have not had a chance to try it. I downloaded the patch. It's all updated. I haven't had a chance to turn it on.
They show some like comparison images, and it's like, yo,
yeah,
that's fire. That's fire.
But see, that's the stuff they do, and they can do like high frame rate with ray tracing on consoles. Like they do crazy stuff with id Tech, right? And so I don't see why they shouldn't work with each other. I mean, it literally is the same engine, just they forked it off a while ago and made the COD engine from it, but they could certainly bring it back and see how they can take advantage of the features that are now available with id Tech. But yeah, that's an awesome thing that if they pull that off. But at least they do have machine games, maybe others within the Bethesda arena using the id Tech engine, right? So,
and the other things he brought up here, right, which I think are honestly the most important for us, right, for the gamers, for us who get to experience this stuff, is the fact that he brings up the idea that the studios are now, he almost talks about them like a proud parent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're playing amongst themselves now, they're sharing, they're doing all this fun stuff, helping each other grow, helping each other do big things. Honestly,
we've known that this is
cool.
how things operate over there. It was such a shocker to hear about the PlayStation studios and kind of like how hush they are. They don't even kind of share with each other what's going on.
Did you see that interview? There was a Shuhei Yoshida interview, right? And like talked about how it used to be and then how it is now. I don't know if you saw that interview.
I've heard it. I heard a while back. I don't think it was from Shuhei.
Like within the last week or two.
No, that
really?
one I haven't
because
seen.
he's now off the leash. He's like, I was told I was not allowed to talk to anybody, right? So it used to be they used to talk all the time, and then he's like, PR came in and said, no, I can't talk to anybody. So
you know why? Because they're giving them all different deals. So they don't want them crossed.
This is while he was running PlayStation. While he was running PlayStation, while he was running the studios, he was told can't talk. The studio people can't talk. Right.
They
so
can't
it used
talk
to be like
to each other. Like they can't share. They can't help each other. Like they don't know necessarily what they're working on and how they're doing it.
That's crazy.
But
and he's like, it was so weird that we wanted to engage. And our PR is like, no, you can't engage. Like, well, okay. So
whereas like over here, and again, we've seen it. Like even that trailer they put together, it's like they're all a big family, right? They're gonna go ahead and elevate each other.
That's just,
at least that's the way that I see them.
But he also brings up the idea that it's about them doing like their best work, right?
Yeah.
What they want to do, and we've always talked about that. Whereas you can tell, like the turmoil that's happening over in PlayStation is like these studios don't know what to do to appease PlayStation. They're like, all right, you live service, okay, we'll figure out. We'll make a live service, and it's like, oh, your live service is dead now. It's not good enough. It's like, okay, bitch. Well,
like you said, right?
The way you were gonna say, tell us that we can make a game. Like, what are we supposed to fucking do?
It's like Phil talks like a proud parent, but what's happening over there? It seems like they kind of like pin against each other. What can they do to kind of get the spotlight, right? Kind of to get the attention and get their games to be approved.
Yeah, it's wild when you hear it. Just again, we all know why we're over here. It's because they do. Actually, they're about to go into it more, but let's continue this because it's just, man, they're so good at what they're doing.
Deliver what I would say is some of the best games they've ever delivered. By
the way, he just mentioned that right now, right? That they're making the best games they ever delivered, the studios. I said this shit so long ago, right? I don't know if you remember, but I said it, that every single game that's being worked on at Xbox right now, those studios are all essentially working on their best game ever.
Yeah.
Right? Like all their games are the games that are going to take them to like that next level.
Yeah.
And so far we've seen that across the board, right? Every studio that's dropped something has taken them to that next level where they're producing at such a high bar, which is just phenomenal, right?
Is definitely the goal when you think about the pace then and the quality that we want to be at. And it's a great 25, and I'm really excited about it, 2026 as well.
Do we see that? Do you see the studios talking to each other and like sharing expertise and things like that?
Yeah, I want to give kudos to Matt Booty and the leadership team of studios. One of the things, and I grew up here building games in first party. It's not always easy as a team to find the right forum to share your ideas in a safe way, because we know if we put it out there publicly, then it's on display and it's going to get judged. And it's been awesome to see the community of our first party come together on tech forums, on kind of dev days of them sharing their ideas with each other and getting feedback. And when you look across the creative teams that we have, it's just an amazing, amazing group that when in a safe way, you can say, here's something I'm looking at, here's what I'd want to do, and get feedback from our other teams before you go public with something. And maybe you never go public with it, right? Maybe you try something, get feedback. And I see that. I see that from a technology standpoint, the shared tech that our teams share across the different teams, whether it's Unreal Engine work or the id tech work that you see moving around between the studios, the creative discussions that happen in the studios. I think it's leading to these teams. You think of something like South of Midnight, we think like Doom, the Dark Ages. These are amazing accomplishments that our teams are coming out with. I'm playing through Avowed right now, fantastic game. And I love that these teams are realizing their full potential.
I put about 65 hours into Avowed. I loved it, and had been looking forward to even, coming into this weekend. We knew.
Real quick before he goes into the next thing, he basically doubled down on what we were just talking about, right?
I know, it's funny that we brought it up.
Like we literally just said all this shit, and then he comes back and says it, right? It's the sharing, right? The fact that they come out and they're able to talk amongst each other and kind of be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. This is what we're thinking about. What do you guys think? And they're like, oh man, that kind of sucks to think. I'm like, all right, forget it. Scrap that. We'll just keep moving on, or like, or building each other up.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why all of these teams are hitting. You know what I'm saying? Like I've said it so long, like we said it here so long ago, but like Redfall really was like that turning point, right? It was the turning point where everything changed, where all of a sudden there wasn't this isolation of like, okay, go figure out what you're doing and then report to us. No. Like now Matt Booty was put right in place there. Like, no, everything goes through me. We check everything out.
And as it should be. Look at how they're moving together, right? Facts. And he said it himself, to kind of just to reach their potential. But yeah, before I think there was that, acquisitions taking place, and it's kind of like, okay, we respect what you've done. We know that you know what you're doing. And those walls were up, and I think that was necessary in order for them to get to where they are today. That hiccup with Redfall.
Facts. And I do want to point out here, Sappho brought it up, says hear that. He's playing Avowed at the time.
Yeah.
When has Hulse played a game? Maybe he should have played Concord. That's right? Hilarious. But we know that's the stark difference, right? The reason why Phil is so comfortable talking about games is because he's a gamer. He lives that life. He's not just a suit, right? Who's trying to say the right thing. He knows what he's saying because number one, they talk about it, but it's his truth, right? It's his truth, and that's why he can say it so. Are you saying
that Jim Ryan was not a gamer?
Jim Ryan was the hardest core. Yeah, for sure.
There he goes. Oh my God,
poor Jim. But yeah, I mean, you hear it. Phil is out here. He's playing games all the fucking time. Like Jeff Rubenstein, right? These are gamers, bro. He's in there. Some of the on his team, there's other people that we've met that are so dope, and they're out here. Everybody's gaming, right? All these people. Oh shit,
Jim Ryan.
That's wild. That's big wild. But that's the big difference, man. Xbox is all about the gamers from top to bottom, right? Whereas on the other side of it, it's just not a thing.
Well, because they understand that they can be involved in a way that is productive, right? Not hindering.
Facts, 100%. All right, let's continue.
We had the Outer Worlds 2 Direct. We were going to be seeing that. Okay, got to have an amazing surprise. I was just watching the chat.
That is he's talking about like the year of Obsidian. Obviously, we all know, but it's awesome that they're cooking. They got 3 games dropped in this year, which is crazy. He is going to talk about Clockwork. I'm going to let him talk about that a little bit because this was my game of the show for sure.
Really great.
Looking forward to that. So I want to talk about inXile next. I was a big fan of Wasteland 3, put dozens of hours into it. There's so much flexibility in different ways. Like you could change the outcome of the game with their decision making. We knew that they're a strong team when it comes to writing. Then you see Clockwork Revolution.
Yeah,
and
so good.
I was reminded of the meme. Like, I owe you an apology. I was not familiar with your game. Like, did you know inXile could do this?
Yeah, it's one of those things when you talk to Brian Fargo and the team, you knew that they were the ones that were going to set the bar very high for themselves. They had an aspiration that they wanted to hit creatively as a studio from our earliest discussions about them becoming part of Xbox. But it's hard being a small independent studio out there and looking for your next game while you're finishing your previous game and trying to just make sure that you've got the wherewithal to continue going. And I see them now with Clockwork, which I thought was just an amazing game in our show. Like the first time we started looking at that asset and just kind of watching the video come together and the gameplay and the team, that is a team that sets an incredibly high bar for themselves. And I say it's kind of a privilege to get to work with them and the level of expertise they have. And we were able to partner with them to give them some tech support, time, resources. And I think what you see now is just like the ultimate manifestation of an inXile game, a kind of a hard, gritty world, RPG mechanics, storytelling. I think the thing we all probably get a little blown away by is just the level of graphic fidelity, right, that they're showing right now. And the game looks amazing. And also a very memorable trailer. I think the meta game for us was like sort of scrolling the social feeds and watching people go, okay, this is now moved to the top of my radar. Yeah, we knew that. Like when we were looking at this, because we start crafting the show back in like December, January, start looking at what might be in the show. And when we first started to get some like sight into what inXile was building, I knew it would be one of the real standouts in the show, and it was a privilege. And we gave it a lot of time too in the show. Like it was one of those things we wanted to make sure people saw gameplay, they saw dialogue, they saw the ability to build and craft weapons and the different choices and skins that people had there. And then you wanted the story to pop through and the writing. So I'm glad that we gave it the time it had, and it's the response from the community has been fantastic.
Awesome.
All right, we have to look at this for a second, because this is the promise come true, right? So back when all of these acquisitions were happening, we talked about it a lot here, where it's like there's a difference when you're an independent studio just trying to figure out how you're going to survive, get to your next game. And we talked about how different it is if Microsoft picks you up, right? If Xbox scoops you up, all of a sudden you got this freedom, right? But we didn't know necessarily what that would look like, right? And then you go and you look at a team like inXile, and then you think about their history, right? You think about their history, and if you look into their history, they're part of the original Fallout team, right? They broke off of that and they kind of moved forward, but they've never made a game like this, right? As far as the scale and scope of it, right? Nothing as big, nothing as flashy, right? Like we know Wasteland 3 had a big bump from Microsoft, right? Getting purchased by them allowed them to invest in voice work for everyone. There wasn't going to be voices for everything. They voiced the entire game, they expanded it, they did all that stuff. So we knew there was going to be a big benefit for sure. But you hear how he says it right from the earliest conversations when we first acquired them. They had these bigger ambitions, they had these bigger dreams, but they couldn't do it because financially they wouldn't be able to. And look, this is a clear situation right now where we are going to get a game that there's almost for certain will be a game of the year contender for sure whenever it drops, right? And that game only exists in the way that it is because Microsoft went out and purchased that company. This is why we get so pumped when Xbox goes and buys a company, right? When Xbox does it, they are unlocking these people. They're freeing them from being shackled and have to worry about money and what's going to happen. And if this game doesn't do well, I have to market it a certain way or it's going to fail and we're screwed. No. Go out and make your best game. Make the best game that you could ever make. Go do it. That's a freedom that only Microsoft can give, and it's a freedom that we see play out right in front of our eyes because Clockwork Revolution looks
amazing.
Amazing. It looks amazing. And look at inXile's last game, Wasteland 3. It looks good, but it's a top, like, you know, the isometric view, like it looks good, but it's bro, like, you know, this is great. What a leap from last game to this game. Come on. Like, I don't know if we've seen this type of growth in a studio as far as their last game to their next game, but this one, all thanks to Xbox, this is what we get, man.
It's definitely a testament to how, you know, they can go ahead and again reach their full potential and kind of see what, you know, these studios are capable of when they have the resources that they need, the time, and you know, and they're able to just work right without the stresses of, like you said, is it going to do well or not, right? This is
100%.
They're still going to, obviously the goal is for it to do well, but when you kind of take the extra stress off, right, and you can just focus on creating something great, that's just a different feeling.
Agreed. 100%. 100%. And that's what we were hoping, right? We were hoping that that's what was going to play out, and it's happening in front of our eyes. And I know it's funny, you go back, because the way he started, the way the homie Jeff started this was saying, like, was this the plan, right? Are we seeing the plan actually play out, right? And we've talked about it so much, right, over all this time with these acquisitions and stuff. Like, it was just a matter of time before all of the pieces were in play, when all the games started lining up, where they're all starting to be ready to come out, where there was going to be no way to shut it down once it started. And we are at that point 100%, right? It's just game after game after game, announcement after announcement. Like, this is nonstop, right? Like, we're literally getting how many, man, I don't even, what was it? Gears, Oblivion, Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds, and Keeper. Top of my mind, 6 massive games that we did not know about, like that was actually announced coming in. Which one?
Grounded 2.
Oh, Grounded 2, 7. God damn. 7 games that we did not know existed factually. Obviously, rumors are rumors, but as far as announcements coming into this year, 7 games dropped this year that we had no idea about.
Technically, we know, but technically, Call of Duty also counts because we did not really know.
Well, we just know there's always going to be a Call of Duty, but we just don't know what it is. But
technically, we didn't know that one either.
Technically, you're right. But yeah, I mean, this is it. This is the plan in its full realization, right? And I mean, honestly, bro, I mean,
we know about so many games. What do you think happens next year? Do you think they're going to be more surprises? There probably will be, right? There probably will be. But it's like, how do you pepper in more surprises when you already have like Clockwork Revolution ready to roll, right? You already told us Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable are coming, right? On top of that, you have Elder Scrolls, Perfect Dark, OD, and on and on and on, right? All these games, State of Decay 3, we already know they have to come out. Like, when do they? Like, this is just crazy. This is just crazy.
This is murder. We are in the presence of an act of violence, extreme act of violence. This is like nightmare mode for the ponies. The shit didn't get very hard. It just got, it just escalated into nightmare mode. So, let's keep it real, man. It is what it is. That's what they had to deal with, and I mean,
that's karma. That's why you see them lashing out, right?
They had Astrobot. Isn't that?
They had Astrobot.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, I don't think that was enough. I don't think that covered it. It's funny because they were like, 1 game a year is plenty, but
and they reiterated that
they will flock to them, right?
Dude, we literally got 7 games that we didn't even know about, and PlayStation is out here flaunting, saying we're committed to one possibly high quality game a year. That's real wild. That's wild.
Crazy.
And you're a PlayStation pony, and you're sitting there, and you're the fanboy, and you're like, I'm so excited. We got one game. What the fuck is wrong with you, yo?
Very concerning.
At some point, you gotta stop. At some point, you gotta stop and be like, okay, I'm excited that there's one game. I mean, you could be excited for that one game, right? But then don't try to turn around and talk slander on the on the people feeding you, bro.
A part of that mess.
Come on, man.
For sure.
That's real crazy. Before we go forward, let me get my boy Spartan661. My dude. Thank you so much for being here, my brother. Going ahead with that $20 super chat, man. Appreciate you, homie. Says, and I already updated the banner, so thank you, my brother. Top super chat of the night. Says, the PlayStation executives can't and don't play games. Damn, can't. Like they ain't got no hands. I love it. When have you seen them ever having fun playing on a PlayStation? Jim proved that he doesn't play games while holding controller wrong, and his system was upside down. Fuck Sony. You know, the only person that I think Sony had that used to play games was Shuhei. I think Shuhei was the only one who used to play, and they fucking put him in the dungeon and they got him out. They're like, you play video games? You're a fucking loser. Get out of here. You don't belong here. You don't belong here. Oh my god.
Look at that face though. Look at Herman. Does that not look like the face of
a
someone
gamer?
Who's a hardcore gamer?
Yeah. Listen, when he told you that Concord was going to be their Star Wars,
oh my gosh,
that he knows exactly what he's talking about.
It was cooked, bro.
He knows exactly what's going on.
You heard what he said about the Horizon Forbidden West, about Horizon? I mean, Aloy as a character. It was like, we got the great Horizon, and that captivated the females, the female presence in gaming.
Oh my god.
That's what he said. I was like, whoa, what the? I don't know, bro. I don't know how he's playing that, bro. Argy, you have such a good liver, man. You should use it for drinking instead of playing bad video games.
Oh my god. That's wild.
Nah, man. I get you. You're trying to finish what you started, bro.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go back to Doom, which I left because of the path tracing. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hold off, and I want to play the path tracing.
Yeah.
So now I'll get to go back to that.
That's gonna be fire, bro.
And I do see we got a super chat from Effective 458, but you remember the pony tax? I didn't forget. $5 and above, bro. Don't be coming over with that $2. I ain't gonna talk to you. I warned you. I told you.
You did.
Pony tax. $5 and above.
Oh, so it's a pony tax
for him? Yeah. He wants to get his shit read. $5 and above. I'm reading your shit for $2, man. Nope. Fuck out of here. All right, let's continue with our boy, Bill.
Another team that kind of keeps us guessing all the time. Double Fine. From one game to the next, we were talking earlier, like, you know, the team that made Stacking, that also made Massive Chalice. Like these are games that like everything is completely original, and it feels like Keeper is going to be another one of those in the pantheon from Double Fine.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. It was one of those when we were putting the kind of flow, I wanted to make sure I got to talk about the game as we came out of the reveal for Keeper. I've known Tim since original Xbox, and big fan of Psychonauts. In fact, when I went and I was watching that game kind of come into focus for the show, I went back, reignited my Double Fine love, and I went back and played The Cave. I went back and played Iron Brigade. Like, it was just reminding me of some of the great things that team, very diverse team when you think about the different mechanics and stories that they've told. And that one just had such I thought, like a soulful play to it as you watched, and I can't wait for people to get to play. It's really great. We get to do new IP, which also showed up very well in the show when you think about Clockwork and Keeper, and enable teams to go and create new.
Another game we don't have to wait too long before we all get to enjoy. Something I love about these shows, and obviously,
real quick, obviously, Keeper was super dope. Again, this is just kind of carrying the previous sentiment forward, which is, you know, you take a studio like Double Fine, who just made Psychonauts 2. It took them a really long time to make. turned out amazingly, right? Like that game is fucking phenomenal, right? And again, it was because they got purchased, they were able to really kind of put in the work to really make it something special, and it was, right, in fact, extremely special. And then you got a game like this, which is an offbeat type of game, right? It's you're a lighthouse, right? We don't really, I honestly don't really know what the game is about, right? What does it mean? What is it going to do? Like how, like, but the fact that number one, you see the quality level of it, right? So it's a lighthouse, but the lighting is on point, the graphics look great, like everything looks very high end, right? So they're functioning the way they used to function, right? He brings up some of the old games that they worked on, but if you look at those old games, like they were always good, but like there's only so far they would take it,
yeah,
right? Where here you can see they're pushing, right? They're pushing. It's stunning, right? It's a gorgeous game, and the fact that they're free to do this, right? Like we've had the interviews from like Matt Booty coming out and letting everybody know, like, again, not every studio they have is designed to make the bangers, right? Xbox is the only place where they literally have studios for the love of the game, right? They have studios that are built and are part of Xbox just to feed Xbox gamers, right? Just to keep us with new and exciting things to play, different things, not the same rinse and repeat
for the
bullshit.
love of creativity.
Exactly.
For it to untap and kind of just, have these games that like the lighthouse, right? It's kind of just its own little spin on something. We have PlayStation out here stealing art, and we have them not being able to trying to kind of replicate what has been successful. To be able to have that financial freedom where you can make the bangers and still be able to feed your players something that they have never seen before, experienced before, right? That's a big deal. And that's what you get, those the people that like those very creative and different games, and you bring them into.
Absolutely. I mean, it really it makes a difference, right? I mean, that's a big part
inclusive,
of it,
right? You're making something for everyone, not just for the sake of the bag, right?
So that's the thing.
That's the big
right?
deal.
It's not all for the sake of the bag. Now, obviously, like we're not stupid. We know they have Game Pass, right? So they do want Game Pass to constantly be fed. But at the end of the day, if they're feeding us with studios that are allowed to be themselves, right? Nobody walked into Double Fine and said, yo, that Psychonauts was dope, but we're gonna need you to live service this bitch up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We need some reoccurring revenue from your next game. Like that's not what they do, right? And again, we've talked about it a few times now because in different ways they keep showing it, right? And the fact that this new game gets to come out and be different, like that's what makes it special. That's what makes Xbox now, right? That is how you define Xbox, with their studios able to go ahead and just be free to create and to work at a high level, and that is what makes me very excited, right?
Yeah.
Machine XP, I see you, bro. Make that Brutal Legends 2. Yes, actually, after seeing this, I went back and played some Brutal Legends. Still holds up, man. Such a good game. All right, let's continue.
There's a lot of focus on the big reveals, the debuts, the world premieres. Is that we're able to make space for these games that have been building communities for years and have been adding new content and have now tens of millions of players. So like we saw season 17 of Sea of Thieves. ESO showed off Fission Hole.
Relax. Okay, so which one is this? Hold on. Are they not showing me the name? 3 chapters. Okay, this is. Why is it doing me like this? It was telling me the name, and now it's not telling me the name. I want to see what they called each chapter. Don't play me, bro. Hold on.
The last segment, I think, is just one big segment. That's all.
No. There's a whole bunch of different ones. This is the segment about their live service games that they keep going, Fallout 76, Age of Mythology, Sea of Thieves, ESO, but Xbox and Japanese developers. Okay,
something that you've been very vocal about over, I mean, for many years is just how important it is for you to ensure that Xbox players are enjoying the amazing games that come out of game creators in Japan.
Yeah.
And we saw a lot of that here in the Xbox Game Showcase. We want to run down through, some of the games here. Ninja Gaiden 4, of course. We've got to see a pretty
on your list of 2025, we started the year obviously with Ninja Gaiden 2, the remaster. Like you just think about like Ninja Gaiden means so much to us on Xbox, and it was awesome seeing 4 in the show. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, please, we're here to talk to you. So Square Enix, the great surprise drop of Final Fantasy 16. Also the confirmation of Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I was fun watching the chat on that. A lot of OMG. That was sort of the the most frequently seen thing. And even earlier in the week, I think during Jeff's show, we saw Final Fantasy Tactics is coming to Xbox. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Super excited.
We did
about
that for you. It was the Jeff.
Don't think it didn't land. It was my birthday week, and I was like,
nice.
They knew they remembered.
I love that. Yes. I love that.
And Persona 4 Revival. It feels like Persona and the Sega and Atlas team seem to have year after year really been showing up in our show. Like Game Pass is like the home of Persona these days. Also, Metaphor ReFantasio from Atlas was the big showstopper, I want to say, like 2 years ago, and is now in the Game Pass.
Game Pass.
Yeah.
Our relationship with the publishers that you're mentioning, whether it's the ones that are in our show, but even things like our relationship with Capcom. And I got to sit here and play days and go through Resident Evil and see the new game, and scary, but amazing. Like in the history of video games, so many of our great franchises have come from Japan. The creator community there is very strong. I have a lot of friends there that have built games for years, and I always like going and listening to what they need from a platform. When they talk about here's what we need in order to see the growth that they're looking for, whether it's growth in creative or growth in the games that they're building. So going out on the road and spending time and like 2 ears, one mouth, I'm listening more than I'm talking on what they need from us, I think is important, and gaining the trust. I think when a publisher decides to publish on our platform, to me, it's really a sign of trust that we're going to treat their games the right way, that we're going to be a good partner for them, whether it's Game Pass or just a retail game on the platform, and helping them deliver what they need to deliver with their games. And I love the support that we have. It's work. Like we're always there, getting on planes and going and having discussions. I go to TGS every year. Like these are important relationships for us to build. But I also hear from the Xbox community, it's important to them.
Yeah.
So it's important to me.
Okay. So I think this is a very important part of this interview, because if you guys remember, it wasn't too long ago that the world tried to mock Xbox for not having the Japanese games, right? Not having the Japanese support, not having them, want to be on Xbox because Xbox was too small, or whatever the ponies were whatever narrative they were trying to spin, right? And you could see clearly that he said it, right? It's a lot of work. They're going on planes, they're doing all this stuff, they're talking to these people.
He said it's worked, right? So like they've put in the work to earn that trust and have that relationship. It's nothing that just came about, right? Or they just had the right to have.
Agreed. So, I mean, it's a big deal to see this happening. And, you really are in this era where it's like, okay, there's no more, right? Yeah. There's no more of the, this game's not going to come to Xbox because of XYZ. Like, no, it's not at all. It's a non-issue.
And I keep thinking about that video during the show we had last night, that video we played, right? About, at the end, about Square Enix and his reaction about Final Fantasy going to Xbox. And it's like, this didn't just happen. This didn't just come about. They have built a relationship. They respect the fact that they're being trusted. And it's a big thing. Hearing Phil talking like this, it's a big thing for them to not let these developers down, and be able to do what they signed up for, right? Be able to deliver what they asked for. in what they're hoping
Agreed.
to have happen.
And look, this is something that they've been working on, but it's here now,
Mhm.
right? And it's not a hope and a dream anymore, right? It's here, and it's done. So it's just moving forward now. Let me see, what is this one? Summer Games says play days. Okay, and then here's his.
So the trend that jumped out at me this year was the really front and center mentions of Xbox Play Anywhere in that program. We mentioned earlier this year there's over 1,000 games that are Xbox Play Anywhere. It's something that I avail myself of all the time. It's something that Final Fantasy 16, I'm going to be downloading it on my RG Ally X and playing it on the way home. So I love that. But I would like to just hear about the decision to make sure like that was front and center in front of every new game that was shown in this showcase.
Yeah, we try to really be led by what the community is doing when they play. And more we're seeing people play the same game in kind of multiple locations, and making sure that my progress always counts. It's one of the things Ken Lobb, who's one of our creative leaders in our studios, always hits, like, be respectful of every hour I spend in your game. It always should count. And like core to that is to make sure not only is my entitlement move with me between the different devices that I play on, but that my progress moves with me and my community moves with me wherever I go. As you said, we started this a long time ago, really led with our first party. But one of the things I'm really proud of when I watch the show is how much third-party support we're getting for Play Anywhere. And it's really because those creators are seeing that, what is it now, like 28% growth in players playing multiple devices, our games year over year, that is a way of, if your game is more accessible to more people, they're going to play it more often. If they play it more often, they're going to enjoy it. And that really works. It doesn't mean everybody has to do it, but it's meaning the players don't, if you only want to play on console, you only want to play on your PC or your handheld, awesome. But when you decide to move, I want Xbox as a platform to make that seamless and delightful.
So again, just kind of reiterating here, but like the fact that it's doubling down on this idea that it really makes the most sense when you go ahead and you're a part of this ecosystem that you can now buy a game or have Game Pass or whatever the case is, but you're having access to your games wherever you want. And listen, I co-sign this idea 100% because I'm 100% living proof of this idea, right? I am the exact player that he is speaking to with this idea of have your game and play it anywhere, because that's exactly what I do, right? I play on my console when I can, I play on PC when I can, and then the rest of the time I'm on a handheld, either playing like natively downloaded games on the ROG Ally, or I'm streaming on the Steam OLED, streaming from xCloud or from GeForce Now, and I'm playing my Xbox games everywhere, right? And it's all working for me, right? Like I'm playing everywhere and just enjoying the games I want to play. And there's a lot of times where it's like you might be a game that when I finally have time to sit down on like my TV, that I'm not going to play your game because your game just might not be the type of game
that you're in the mood
that
for
I want
at that moment
when I'm sitting down. Like, right? If I'm sitting down, I want probably the biggest games, right? The biggest, best, the most bombastic, whatever, the things that got me most hooked, right? But then when I'm away from there, it's where I find time to kind of fit these other games in. And if you're not allowing me to do that, then you're cutting, like, as far as me as player, you're cutting me out because I'm not going to spend the time playing games when I only have a limited of time, right? A limited amount of time.
I mean, obviously, we all have busy lives, right? You have to be selective, but if you find a way to, fill in the gaps, right, throughout the day, for the players to not just feel like they have to sit in front of a TV to have access to their games and their library, then, obviously you're opening the doors, not just for that player, but for the games themselves to be more successful.
Absolutely. I mean, Demo, do you use any of this, or do you strictly just play your Xbox games on your console and that's it?
Nah, man, I've been playing everywhere. And that's just how it is. For the most part, I try to play between my Xbox and my PC, depending on what I'm doing. Like now, for example, I'm here with you guys. We're chilling. I really don't gotta look at you all the time. So I'm actually playing Gears, on my Xbox. I'm streaming here with you guys on the PC. And sometimes I'm doing it the other way around. I have YouTube on my Xbox and a game on my PC. It just depends when I get caught. Like when I'm on content creation mode, I spend more time on my PC. When I'm more about partying up and hanging out with the boys and being comfortable or something like that, I do play a lot on my Xbox. So I go back and forth. It's just a matter of when I get cut. The other place that I've been playing a lot and I've been really enjoying it is via cloud. I've been playing via cloud in my Meta Quest because it's chilling. I get into bed, I put the thing on, I'm laying down, just grab the controller, and I've been playing Zenless Zone Zero, which is like a chill game, Japanese, whatever game.
How is that? Is that good?
It's all right. You get in there. It's like a beat 'em up, like a hack and slash type thing. Has some
Is that a free to play or is it you have to buy it?
Yeah, it is free to play. It is free to play, but with Game Pass, you get some stuff. I think they added some.
Nice.
Some stuff that you get with Game Pass. And I just been having a great time, bro, playing games whatever I please. So yeah, the cloud is also viable. I don't really get to play on the cloud something like Gears, right? But I do play something like Metaphor Refantasia, Yakuza game like a dragon. I'll be playing, that a little bit. Something chill. Nothing, something just chill to hang out. That's it. Nothing that I had to go ahead and sweat. Nothing that that requires me to utilize my my reflexes like that much. Something chill, and it's just been working, dude. And I know a lot of people who play just like just play straight from the cloud, man. And that's fine. They utilize GeForce now. These motherfuckers have 4070s and shit, and they be like.
GeForce Now is amazing. So so is xCloud, but GeForce Now is really crazy. That's what I'm excited for, the next iteration of xCloud, right? That's what they're working on, right? They're going to be pushing that shit forward. I love the idea of right before bed, throwing on your headset a little bit, go lay down, play a little game, fall asleep, wake up in that world still because you never took off your headset.
Yeah, you're chilling, and I do like it because you like in a theater. They put you like in the cloud. I don't know if you guys have tried it when you go in the Meta Quest.
Yeah, I have.
And they put you like a big screen, and you are in there, and you are able to look at your hands like this and shit. So you're chilling. You're like in another world. So it's really good to let your mind go and forget that you are in this reality. And chill for a little bit. I usually do it in my balcony. When it's nice.
Well, be careful,
cool
bro.
outside. No.
Well, he's sitting, right?
But hold on. But I'm like laying in the hammock. Something like that. Like I'm not moving. Like if I'm gonna play VR like that, I just clear my living room or something a little bit, and then I just do it there if I have to. But it's just like all these devices are connecting you with your games, and the more that technology advances, the more devices are gonna support this. The more devices that you can use and play better. These games are going to start running better, whether it be due to AI, whether it be due to raw power, whether it be with the help of, the power of the cloud. I believe that the way that gaming is moving is, is very innovative. And a lot of people didn't see this coming, but we did. Here in this channel, we've been talking about like playing in whatever device is possible and how this also helps people find out more about games and be connected more with the gaming, in general. So, I mean, there you have it. This is good. This is great. Xbox everywhere, and the whole thing that that you can play your games everywhere is dope. And I think that the more people that jump into this, the better it's gonna get, and hopefully we'll get some competitors in some stuff like this. Yep.
I feel that, man. What about you, Hargy? Any and you use your PC in your console?
Yeah, all the time. And I've played Doom on both. It's seamless. You just start it up on the console. I'm in a party chat. I'll just play it while I'm on Xbox, and sometimes I'll go to the PC and play it over there with the higher fidelity, right? So, and it's just seamless. You just start the game, and there's your save. It just doesn't matter. It's right there. So very, very cool that you can do that. There's a lot of partnership capabilities that you're seeing. That this is kind of the path going forward. At least having cross progression even across other platforms is awesome. But like the way they have the Play Anywhere, right? You buy it once, you have it wherever you want. That kind of thing is just so convenient. I hope it keeps going. I hope it it gets expanded, but
well, I don't think
we'll
there's
see
any
like
hope
how many publishers
required.
gonna.
Yeah.
I really don't think there's any hope required, bro. Like this is similar to
Well,
like
so
PlayStation, right?
do you
Like
think Take
publishers are
Two
going
does
to
it?
Facebook.
Do you, unless they buy
I-
Take Two, that's a whole other discussion. But do you know
I mean-
that it's when it gets to those like big publishers actually adopting it, right? So that would be really
Well, there's
cool.
only a few of them left, right? That would have to be conquered, right? And then at a certain point, it's like, okay, so like right now we know like their model with GTA is to release it on console and then double dip and get it on PC, right? And that's cool, right? But like that's for this next game. What about the next one, right? What about Red Dead? Are you still going to be playing that game, or are you going to realize at a certain point, right? Remember, their next game is next gen, right? No matter what, right? So you're looking at what Xbox is doing, what they're going to be pushing. It is going to be a different discussion, man. And I do think the dominoes will continue to fall. The fact that this entire show was full of third-party companies that are like, yeah, fuck it, let's go Xbox Play Anywhere. You know, it just makes too much sense, right? And you're gonna end up being left behind. Sure, if you have the IP power of a GTA, yeah, sure, that's fine. But like after that, there's not many games that are untouchable that way, right? There's not many games that are gonna do whatever no matter what, right? And I think that this is gonna be a big part of it, right? I think people are gonna be like, hold on, you're telling me, like, imagine going to buy a movie and getting a digital code for it, and they're like, hold on, the only place you can use this digital code is on this particular app, right? No, that's bullshit. Nobody does that shit no more, right? If you got a digital code, it goes where? Movies Anywhere, right? You can put it in there and it shows up literally in any place you stream. You go to Amazon, your movies are there. You go to YouTube, your movies are there. You go to Google, your movies are there. Microsoft, your movies are there.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's stupid to think that I'm going to buy this particular movie multiple times to play it in the different places I want to play it. It just doesn't make any sense. So right now, yeah, Take Two is on the stance that they are because of what they have. But eventually, when Microsoft breaks down the barriers of all this and everything's a PC as far as compatibility, like how are you going to deny that, right? So I think they'll get their W with GTA, right? They'll still force that, buy the PC version later. But then going forward, I don't know. I think everybody's going to get on board, right? You already hear PlayStation's executives like, yeah, we're kind of figuring out what we're going to do. I think everybody's going to get in line. I think there's only going to be one way to do this. Yeah.
All right. This is very strong. Like Xbox plays everywhere. The wave and the the way that people have accepted this and the way that people have reacted towards this feature has been very positive. So I can only see this getting better and better and being implemented in more games and hopefully more, like I said, more ecosystems and more competitors appear and try to do something good, something that actually makes sense and something that's actually going to be an improvement for gamers. Like quality of life improvements are always welcome, and I think the next generation is going to be all about that. It's not going to be about the power, it's not going to be about graphics, about I think it's going to be
definitely going to have those things for sure, but
yeah, no, of course, but I think like the main thing about it is going to be like what your device can do and what games can I play in it, like what games can I buy in it, what apps can I download, what else can you do with it. It's going to be like at the end of the day, I think like where everything is going is going to be towards a portable device similar to the ROG Ally, that is going to be improved over time, and eventually that's what everybody will have. You carry with you, dock it if you want to play, and keep it moving whatever the hell you want. That's it. It's going to be very portable, probably even smaller. I'm thinking even about a watch. I'm thinking about that they can even make everything this with the utilization of AI, with the utilization of the cloud. They can make like literally like, I mean, there's nanotechnology out there, which is like the way that these graphics card are, that the technology that they use, right, for all the components inside. So you think about it, if they continue to like progress, right, and develop this type of technology, we're gonna start seeing a decrease in size of the devices that we use for gaming. So this will, probably include like graphics cards, consoles, and whatever those devices that you use for gaming. So, I mean, the more the technology advances, right, everything gets smaller, right? So we've seen like at the beginning how everything started, big computers that were like whatever, like look like buildings, right? And now we are reduced to something as small as the Alienware, which is like this. It's like very compact and it runs game very, very good. So I think we're gonna see everything getting smaller and smaller and things changing, right? So it's up to you if you want to keep up with gaming. I suggest you to like embrace the new stuff and the innovation, because if this is utilized in the right way, it could be like groundbreaking for us, and it could be of benefit to us. So that's the way I think
I think this generation coming up is the generation where it goes fully in, like catching up to the rest of the media. Yep. Right? Like I think this will be the generation that gaming will be just like consuming gaming will be just like you consume movies, just like you consume music. It's not going to be any more about the where. It's just going to be the what, right? What you want to listen to. Doesn't matter if it's again on Spotify, doesn't matter if it's on YouTube Music or Amazon Music or Google, whatever it is that you are like, it's all about the content, right? It's going to be all about the content. I mean, listen, our phones are already capable of doing everything that we need to do, right? Music, movies, and gaming. It's already there. If you have a little, you can do, first of all, on, like, I know they don't talk about it much, but there are plenty of games that are available on Xbox through touch on your phone, right? So you can play a lot of games on touchscreen, right? But there's a lot of devices like the little controllers that you attach to it to turn it into a full-blown handheld, like literally just like any other game console on a handheld. It just works perfectly. There's even like they're gonna keep advancing this too, because there's a Kickstarter that I did, that I was a part of, and I'm still waiting for it, but it's like a case that goes on your phone. Okay, and it's a little thicker than like a normal case, but it slides out into a full controller.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's a full controller.
So
the case is a little thicker, right, than a normal case would be, right? But right there, you just slide it, it goes up into an angle. You got a controller, you have there is a little like curve to it, so you have some grip. The thumbsticks are elevated, so you're not like on this flat thing. You're still going to be able to play, and it's just right there every time. So when you get to that point where this is like a small company trying to make this happen, right? What's going to happen when the big boys say, "Oh, gamers are wanting this. Well, let's design our own case for gamers," right? When you have Apple developing their own case that has a controller, when you have Samsung doing it, right?
When that's everybody catches on and gets on board, and then that's going to be
all of a sudden crazy. If you're a gamer and you buy a new phone, you just buy the case that has the controller, and no one's the wiser, right? Because it doesn't look any different. It's just a little thicker. When you're working or whatever, you take your phone calls. It doesn't look like it's not like this big ass sticker that says, "Hey, I'm a gamer."
Because everything is usually like an attachment, and we just forget the name, but we just got one for the phone, and it's like it's nice, but you always have to
plug it in.
Yes, hook it up,
and it's like you have to keep it separate from your phone.
Exactly. So you're carrying both things. But yeah, that's pretty cool, because you can go, like you said, seamless from a phone call to a game, pretty much pops right back in.
Yeah, like if you're playing and then a phone call comes in, you literally just close up the controller, pick up the phone call, go back to playing. I mean,
when is that coming out?
I don't know. They're getting to the production stage, but so it's probably by the end of the year. I think it's
an awesome idea,
but it's dope, right? It's dope, and I hope that by the time it comes out, I can still use it on my the new phone. But and even with phones, we're getting to the point where you're not going to have to stream. A lot of shit's going to be native. At a certain point, they'll be able to do it, right? So you're talking about a future that I think we're all going to be really excited for. Okay, and then there's one last segment to this, but before I do that, I do have to go over here, shout out, because I just noticed it. Our motherfucking homie, Spartan 661, went ahead and not only gifted 5 On Point for Gamer memberships, but he did an additional 5 On Point for Gamer memberships.
Thank
10
you so much.
On Point for Gamer memberships, man. My dude, thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Much appreciated, man. That's very, very dope of you. Y'all know what to do.
Tell them, baby.
Put the motherfucking welcome to the family of OG in the chat. Welcome our newest members, man. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. So I do see we got the homie APIMB. You got Nemesis the God. You got Big Wheeze. You got Anthony Roberts. And you got Birth to Burial 10. Damn, that's a kind of dope name. And then you have the homie EJ Jackson.
Let's go.
You got Julian Johnson. You got Car Racer Temp 880. You got Voidlock, and you got Roscoe P. Cold. Shout out to you guys.
Welcome, you guys.
So
Spartan 661. Thank you
for rocking with us.
That's
we appreciate
so
you. And then Spartan, of course, man. You're the fucking man. Let me go ahead and update this shit over here real quick, because our boy, he's not fucking around. He's not fucking around. Let's get him over here. Spartan 661 gifted. It's like this banner is brought to you by Spartan. He's running the streets over here.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so very much, man. Okay, so the last Petman Jones, what's up, bro? I see you, homie. The last little spot here before we move on.
So let's talk about one of the ways that people are going to be very much looking forward to playing some of those games across platforms this year. Wouldn't be an interview with you if there wasn't something on the shelf, and you've got this here. It's not quite as it's right behind the fish, so maybe nobody noticed it. So that is the ROG Xbox Ally.
That's right.
You've been playing Balatro on it?
I've been playing a ton of things on it. I do travel too much. And to be honest, this one's not mine. I have the Xbox X version. But I have found that getting to play my favorite games wherever I am just makes me enjoy them more. And is again, going back to Play Anywhere, but making sure that my games are always there. And we're seeing from the work that Nintendo did on the Switch, even before that, really, if you think about handhelds and Nintendo's amazing kind of track record there, Steam, what they did with the Steam Deck, so many of the hardware manufacturers that they're building, Lenovo, ASUS. So when we were on this path, we said, let's find a partner who can do a great job on the hardware. We know we've got real software and platform work to do as Microsoft and as Xbox. And I think this coming out this year with the partnership that we have with ASUS is going to be just a great addition to what it means to play on Xbox.
So one of the things that Sarah said during her segment where the ROG Xbox Ally was introduced was bringing together the power of Xbox and the freedom of Windows.
Yes.
How are those teams working together to deliver that Xbox experience on what is a Windows device?
There's probably 3 things I would hit on. Well, I've been at Microsoft for a couple days, and I would say this is the tightest collaboration I've seen between the gaming organization and the Windows team in my 3 decades at the company. Like, it's really amazing to see the teams focusing on opportunities for us to make the experience better, and working really as one development team to realize that. Now, when you say the freedom of Windows is an open platform. And we want to support that on this device, meaning if you've got a storefront that you love, we want to make sure that that's fully supported here. If you've got a social place that you go, like a Discord or something that you use to do voice communication, text communication, we'll make sure that's supported. It's not a closed platform, but there's some uniqueness then when you're supporting an open platform, but you want it to work as appliance-like, as a game console. And I think that's where these 2 teams coming together can really create something great together. So that's the thing that Xbox brings. Kind of the separate second thing of we've for 25 years almost. We've been working on a console experience that you turn it on, it works, your games are there. And how do we bring that to the Windows ecosystem so you get the freedom of Windows to use the storefronts and the applications you want to use, but it feels like a device that's purpose-built. And then I'd say under the hood, we also know there's work for us to do on battery life, on interruptions, on performance. And I love just seeing the week-to-week grind the teams are doing. I'm sending my bug reports. Here's the things that we need to work on. And the progress has been amazing between the two teams.
And I hear it's going to play Silksong when it comes out.
That's right. That's right. And thank you. That was a good partnership to kind of feed them in and have them play a role in our hardware lineup. But it is really about playing the Windows games that you want to build, you want to play. So if you're a big Roblox player, if you're a Fortnite player, if you're a Minecraft player, if you love Game Pass, we want to make sure the way you've built your library as a player and the games that you want to go play are available on this device and that they play incredibly well.
So one of the things you hinted at, you had mentioned 25.
All right, so you said the 25, but before that, so the ROG Ally, obviously changing the game, right? Changing the game. And the fact that, again, kind of reiterating, that's all about any storefront you want. It honestly, I saw somebody put a clip, I think it was J-Rock on Twitter. He put a clip of the Power, whatever. Remember the Xbox made that documentary about how they came to be, right? And he put like a 6-minute clip or something like that. But in that clip, it talked about how the team that wanted to build Xbox was working, and they needed to work with the Windows team, even though they didn't want all the Windows bullshit. You know, they still needed to work with them to get certain things done, and how they had like this transformative moment in front of Bill Gates where, you know, back in the day, if you guys are old enough to remember, you know, PCs back in the day, when you went to go turn one on, that shit did not just turn on.
No.
Like there was a long sequence, 3, 5, 6 minutes of just that shit trying to get going. Right? Like it was crazy, but that's what it used to be. And they working on their stuff showed Bill Gates like their proof of concept, and they turn on the console that they just created real quick to give them an idea, and it started in like 3 seconds, right? 3 to 4 seconds, and it just blew his mind, right? And like that moment, right? That moment where they were trying to make that a reality, I feel, and this is what I feel, but I feel like they're there again, right? Like they're there, like this new frontier where they're trying to not just make a separate thing from Windows and making a box that's this amazing. What they're trying to do is it's almost like they're going back and returning the favor, right? Like they're going back and saying, okay, we're now going to actually go transform Windows into what it should be if you're a gamer, right? Like if you're a gamer and this is how you want to use the platform, it should be focused on you. And they're doing that work, right? They're doing that work. You could see it, that it already works. Because even right now on my ROG Ally, the OG, the original, we went ahead. I went ahead and I updated it. Like so many people in the chat were telling me that it's so different from before when I stopped using it. And yeah, turns out it does work really, really well. Now it's still Windows, right? So there's still that separation between Steam and Epic Game Store and Uplay and, you know, all this other shit. The separation's still there. That's why this is going to be such a game changer. But when I go in that Armor Crate, I don't care for it, because it's cool if you're only going to play the same game or whatever. It kind of brings your last game you played or whatever. But if you're trying to go into their particular, you know, library that you have, it's limiting, right? But when I open up the Xbox, you know, PC app on the ROG Ally, it's just full screen. It is that same screen that they showed you. It's already kind of here.
Yeah.
And it works with the control perfectly with the controller. Like there's nothing that pops up in the Xbox app that you can't control with the controller, right? Even when it's telling you, do you want to allow access to the PC or whatever? Like that stupid ass question. Like, of course I do, because if I say no, what you're gonna do? Shut the game down? Of course, asshole. Yes, I do want that. You can still control it with your controller.
You have an option. You do have an option, but not really.
Yeah. It's like you can, but that just means you're turning it off, right? But it does work. It does work. It works really, really well. So when I am using the ROG Ally now, which I actually use frequently, I was using my Steam Deck, the OLED, a lot because I was streaming more, right? Which is cool. But recently I've actually slowed down a little bit on the streaming because I am enjoying the ROG Ally. Like, I have the games downloaded that I want to play there. Some dope games that we got from Summer Games Fest that they sent us home to play, that we're going to put some coverage out for soon. And I'm playing on the ROG Ally, and it just works extremely well. Between Xbox and I do like the big picture mode on Steam. I think there's like a small picture mode now too that I gonna fuck with to see, but it works. It just works really great on the handheld. And thankfully, I have a plug that I could plug into it, so I'm always on turbo mode, which makes it run really, really well. So it's just such a beautiful thing. And the fact that they are going to kind of take those final steps into making it a seamless experience for you, because it is kind of disjarring to go from one store to another. So the pain in the ass, like, it's just not built for it. But once this new software is out there, this new handheld, I'm so pumped for this, bro. Like, I just feel like this is everything, like the culmination of everything that I've ever hoped and dreamed coming into one place. And it's just the beginning, because I feel like from there, they're going to even take it further with whatever the next gen version of this shit's going to be.
Well, because those little obstacles that it keeps it from feeling like organic and seamless. Those are, small as they may seem, they're off-putting, right? So it kind of doesn't allow you to want to go ahead and experience that and go through with it. So keeps you off of it.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be such a huge thing, because like even now, right, like there's only so much, like you would think like, oh man, now we have this handheld, the ROG Ally, the original one I have, is like, oh cool, like let me get one for everybody so we can play that way. But it's still cumbersome, you know what I'm saying? Like it's still not 100%. So I wouldn't want to hand it to one of the kids and be like, hey, here, let's do this, because it's a pain in the ass. It's not like it's still a pain in the ass overall, but it's just so much better that it's got me back in. But the fact that, again, he's talking about having these games on here just working the way it's supposed to work. The ROG Ally is just that new one is just going to really change the game. And then again, that's just the beginning. Next gen is coming. Next handheld is coming. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. All right, and then I think the rest of this, if I'm not mistaken, he's just talking about the 25. Let me see. I don't know if he says anything. It's
5 years, and next year is the 25th anniversary of Xbox. And you said something very notable at the end of your segment, right before we got into Call of Duty Black Ops 7, and that is that players everywhere are going to be celebrating the 25th anniversary of Xbox with games and experiences that have really been core to that Xbox experience for all of that time, really.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure some of the franchises that we've talked about, and maybe like we're not showcasing them here at this show, that I wanted people to know. When you think about Fable, when you think about Gears, when you think about Forza, I mean, these are franchises that have been really part of what makes Xbox what it is today, and it's going to be a nice lineup next year. I love the games that we've launched so far in 25. I think, as you already went through, we have a strong finish to 2025. And then when I look at 26 and our 25th anniversary and the franchises that we're going to launch in that year, I think it's going to be a really special year for Xbox next year.
I think that's a great note to go out on. So we will end it there.
I look at 26 and our 25th anniversary and the franchises that we're going to launch in that year, I think it's going to be a really special year for Xbox next year.
What's crazy is going from this year and saying you think that next year is actually going to be special. Like, this shit, what is it fucking crazy in 2025?
Like, it wasn't a big deal.
Yo.
But I love that they're looking at it that way because that's how we're expecting it, right? We're thinking for the 25th anniversary, they're gonna want to go ahead and put some things together. It's funny because Hargeet had brought up for this show Halo, and I was like, all right, here it comes. When's this gonna happen? But I mean, I think we know that
It's
we
for
have
next year,
our
right?
expectations,
It's for
yeah,
next year
of
now.
what's coming out.
And it's actually
next
pretty
year.
cool that you could see, like, it's almost like this wasn't a mistake, right? Like this,
Mhm.
like they said, you know what? Why put out Fable when it makes sense? Let's go 25th, right? Because next year you really do, like, the fact that he is able to say, which Hargeet, you know, you had brought up possibly, you know, Forza this year, and then he came out and said next year, right? So now it's cemented. We know this is
Yeah.
happening. So we know next year is going to be the year of the OG Xbox, right? Like the spirit of the original
that's the
Xbox
feeling of
desire
it,
of coming
yes.
through, and the 360, right? It's like the history of Xbox. What got us to this point before we blew up with all these other franchises, right?
Yep.
The backbone of what Xbox has been is all culminating in a year of all the new entry points and one revisiting of the entry point. But so we know for sure next year, guaranteed, we have Fable, we have Gears of War E-Day, we have the next Forza, which is going to be obviously Forza Horizon. He said Forza, but we know it's going to be Forza Horizon. And he didn't say it because it doesn't technically exist yet.
But you know it's true.
Right? But you know it's true. They talked about the game that's been here since the beginning, right? Which is Halo, right? And we know, or at least we're assuming, that it's the Combat Evolved remake or reimagining or whatever that's going to be.
Oh my God, it's gonna be a crazy year next year.
It's gonna be fucking
the new
crazy.
console, right? 2026.
We're so, and I just feel like the new console coming, bro.
Come on, man.
I swear to God, I'm telling you, I feel it in my balls.
There's no other way. In your way.
December in my bones. My bones.
Oh my gosh.
You feeling it? What?
He's feeling something.
That's her emotion, guys. You're seeing it live and in person.
Oh.
All right. So we're getting. I think next year we're gonna get the handheld. I think Game Awards. Honestly, I think Game Awards this year. I think they show it. I think they show us same Series X reveal. I think we see next gen, whatever next gen is gonna be. I think we see it at the show.
Nice.
Which is going to be fucking fire. But I do want to get our boy RC. I saw it beforehand, but I knew what was coming, so I want to answer it now. Our homie RC Polygon in the building. Thank you, my brother, for being here. Thank you for that $10 super chat, fam. He says, with all the possible games being shown next year, with the 25th anniversary of Xbox, what would be your choice for the direct post Xbox showcase? For me, it's Elder Scrolls 6 if it's coming out 26, 27. Nope. I know the answer. It's going to be Halo. Easy.
I don't even know, dude.
100%.
I don't even know.
Facts. Right. Clip this
Gotta
shit.
be.
It could be. It would certainly be a good one. But like,
no, the only one is the one that he didn't say the name. It's like Voldemort. Is that his name from Harry Potter?
Voldemort,
right?
Yeah.
Right? You can't say his name. Right, they're not going to say it. They're going to reveal it, and it's going to be that post showcase. They're going to go deep.
We don't know what else is coming that year. This is the insanity, right? You could pick any of those games and say it could make a fantastic direct, but like I wouldn't mind it being Halo. But it's just there's so
I feel
much.
Like they're going to do directs for each one, just not at the show.
They should.
I think the show spotlight will be Halo.
But the question is like the June showcase. What will be the direct at the June showcase, right?
Yeah, it has to be Halo. It has to be Halo. There's the biggest.
They did 2 games this time, right? They did 2 games this time. So
they did. They did more like a studio direct in that case.
There's so much potential. It might end up being the same way, and it might make sense. There might be 2 of them. That
would be crazy, actually. All right,
I think like the possibilities with this next year are so crazy.
It's wild to even think about it.
Halo's my strong belief.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
To be Halo.
Shit. Halo VR.
VR.
No.
Oh
Bro.
hell yeah, yeah. I would dig it.
Not
Yeah.
for no goddamn direct. You want to make that
hell
on the side?
yeah.
That's fine. I'm down. I'll definitely fuck with it. Don't you want to see how
Yeah.
fast that fucking headset goes on my face?
Stop.
Oh
Put
shit.
fucking Halo on that shit, and that motherfucker will be attached to my face. I don't know.
I'm
when
not
I would
gonna
take it
lie,
off.
bro. I think Halo CE in VR will go extremely hard, and now that they have the new VR thing going on now with Meta, that could be a possibility. Maybe just support. It doesn't have to be a dedicated game. They could just like put it. There's certainly mods out there with games like that. Yeah, I think they can make it happen. If they do it, bro, it'll be dope, and it'll bring a lot of people back to Halo, bro. Straight up. Let's do it.
So consider this: there will always be a Call of Duty as well.
Yes.
And you have Halo, Call of Duty. All these games, by the way, will be next gen, right? That's the assumption here, right? That we're gonna get new hardware, and Halo's gonna launch with that console. Like they would be stupid not to do that, right? So you would definitely say Halo's launch would be when that console launches, right? And that will be your marquee title. But so is Call of Duty. And Call of Duty will absolutely take advantage of that next console. Which one would you put forward? Which one would you say is the more important one?
Shit.
They're both crazy. Like, so it's hard to say which one. Like Gears E-Day could come out earlier and then have an update patch like they did with Gears 5 when the new Xbox Series came out, right? Fair enough. Fable definitely is coming up for Series consoles, but you could take that one and say, oh, we made it even better. Right? Like the Direct could be any one of those games.
Yeah.
Forza is going to show, right?
Yes.
You know that game is going to show, right? Like Forza Horizon 5 already looks stunning, and that's an Xbox One game, right? And what are they going to do with the next gen? Because that's going to be on next gen, right? It's a crazy year. It's a crazy year. And we don't even know what else is coming.
I know. It's going to be crazy. Yeah, I agree with Evo over here. He says that VR is too niche, though.
Niche, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be the issue with that. But
I don't think they would definitely.
Yeah,
it would not be the
money
Doodle.
rocking a VR like all day.
Yeah, they can certainly do a partnership with like a Meta or something like that, which there are. Apparently, there's going to be a Meta Xbox, right?
That's
they
what
could
I'm
absolutely do a separate thing with them. Absolutely, 100%, no problem.
Do it.
Not at June Showcase.
Oh no,
Don't waste my time at June Showcase.
Yeah.
No VR at June Showcase. No.
Yeah.
No.
Twitter posts on this would be great, bro. Like nobody.
No. I think they should do a Meta, showcase.
Yeah,
Meta should have its own thing, and they can put a whole segment of Xbox stuff that does VR. I'm totally happy with that. But not at the Xbox stage. I want to see stuff that I play on my PC and my Xbox. Right, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see VR crap. Sorry. Every time that the state of play or state of continuing decay happens, and here's the VR game, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Next.
Agreed. I don't think it's something that's gonna make. I don't think it's something that makes sense. I think we see the next gen console this December. And I think next showcase is just going to be showing all the crazy shit. So also I would imagine that entire lineup of what he said, the way he phrases it, I think that's all coming out second half of the year. So I thought Fable might have snuck in early. I think Fable's going to be on the back half. I think.
Oh my gosh,
Gears,
I'm so
Forza, Halo, all back half.
I remember we were having that conversation.
Oh my God,
I feel like that's where it belongs because we talked about it. I think you guys were kind of thinking February, early during the year.
I really thought so.
And it is what it is, but it'll be pretty dope.
I feel like him
this is going to be an interesting year, man.
Yeah, it makes me feel like it has to be after the June showcase. Like I feel like all this stuff is just gonna be after the June showcase, unless Fable, because we've already seen it so much, does come out beforehand, and then after is just the Halo, Gears, and Forza. You know what I'm saying? Like the real OG. I don't know. Man, that's gonna be.
There's so much potential here, man. Who knows? Like it's gonna be, and we don't know what other games are coming. Maybe there's another one that they want to show that we don't even know about, and they're like, that's the Direct.
State of Decay next year is perfect.
That would be an awesome one to do a Direct on, right? To try to really sell it. Like, hey, we had what State of Decay 1 and 2 were, but we went ham, and now this is a whole other game, and we want to show you what the heck we did, right? Sure, right? That would be an awesome direct right after the showcase. We don't know, right?
I feel like if I'm thinking, I mean, my bet is gonna definitely be Halo. I feel like there's no other one that can shake the world.
I mean, I would
like
love to
Halo
get the
does.
background story on like what made them go to down this direction and all that stuff, right? But
that's why you need it. You need it, and you need all the eyes on it. Like if they're gonna think about it. I think it's pretty simple. If they're gonna do a reimagining or a remake or a soft reboot, you need to explain that shit, right? You got a lot of explaining to do, and I think that's where that direct will come in. But man, it's just so amazing. Go ahead.
Our boy Ryu has your reaction ready to go.
Yo, if it's Halo CMoney, no, chill. Yo, that is my reaction.
That's literally it.
That is my reaction. I think that's just just the way it is, man. That's gonna be fucking phenomenal. All right. Did you guys all give your predictions on what game is it gonna be? Like your official, not it could go any direction. Which is your prediction? I say Halo, baby.
Yeah, I'm with you. Halo,
that's my girl.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the Halo, the new Halo, it just feels right for Xbox.
Right.
Now they didn't mention it, so there could be a possibility that it's not it. Maybe it's even something
Well, they haven't announced it. That's why they didn't mention it.
Yeah, they have it. Everything
they haven't
else
announced
already
the game.
know. Like they didn't say Forza. We didn't say which Forza, right? But we know it's gonna be a Forza. Gears has already been announced. Fable's already been announced, and Halo. Remember, they just did that, showing what the studio. Remember, they announced the studio.
Yep.
And just some of their preliminary, work that they've been doing on testing out going into Unreal, and they specifically said this is not a game, right? So that's why. But I don't know. I feel like it is. All right, Hargeet, what's your choice? Definitive. You can't know any. It's one game that you believe that we could all come back and point at you and say you were wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Any one of those could be a good answer. I'm gonna have to just toss a coin. I don't know. I still think it's a game that we haven't thought. Like from the bigger ones, I think it's a smaller game that they want to showcase. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to be wrong. I'm just going to say State of Decay 3. Or it could be Perfect Dark for all I know. I don't know.
Okay, so you picking State of Decay 3?
I don't know. I assuming it even comes out next year. I don't even know if it's coming out next year.
So which one?
Pull gun to the head, Hargeet. You got to name one only. One.
I know that feeling, Hargeet.
I'll just go with State of Decay 3.
State of Decay 3.
I think it'd be Call of Duty, to be honest. I think they want to showcase that, but who knows?
Well, I think the problem is that they have so much. I think the first time they did Call of Duty, was it the first time or the second time?
They did Call of Duty with was it Black Ops 6? No, was it
Black Ops 6? It was Black Ops 6 because
Black
that was
Ops
the
6,
one
right? Yeah,
the Omni movement and all that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think they're gonna do Call of Duty again for a long time. I think that was just like a hey, look everybody, we own this shit. Look at us do this. I think that is already kind of past. Like everybody knows already. So I don't know. I'm feeling like feeling good about
and they
this.
chose Outer Worlds 2
Halo,
and Grounded, right? This time.
Which is Obsidian, right? They're the ghosts.
What if Clockwork's coming next year? Is that a great direct to have afterwards?
I forgot about Clockwork, bro.
Holy crap, would that be an awesome direct? And this is the problem. They have so much. It's so hard to think which one. If Elder Scrolls 6 comes out next year, you don't think that's going to take the headlines from everything?
I don't think it's going to happen next. I don't think it's going to happen. You're
probably right, just because of the number of games, the sheer number of games.
It's just not a possibility.
It could be anything though. There's so many options. The third-party games we haven't talked about, like it's I don't know. There's so
they haven't highlighted
third-party meaning like they're Xbox games, but being done by third parties, right? But like, who knows? Like, it's a tough one. I'll just go with that because I'm going to be wrong because I think it's going to be whatever makes sense for them. So, but Clockwork would make an awesome one. State of Decay 3 would make an awesome one. So I'll just go with that.
All right. So State of Decay for you, Halo for everybody else. Clip this, guys. Remember it. Next year we'll be back. We'll be back to see.
But now the hard keep mentioning it, though.
Oh,
I mean, now the hard keep mentioning the Elder Scrolls, it could be like, you know, a launching title.
If that's coming, oh my God, that is absolutely going to be the
title. That would be dope as well.
I always looked at that as a 2027 game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that needs to be further out.
Yeah,
because
they just
all these other games.
Good time.
It's the same team, and even though they were working on it a little bit together, I still think that they're going to want to cook. And I think that they're going to. I think that'll be your 2027 game of the direct that they do after the showcase for sure.
Whatever year that's coming, that's going to be the direct, right? I mean, that is a huge game. Sure. You're definitely making that the direct.
Yeah.
So, but
plus, Machine for sure thinks that it's going to be Fable.
Definitely not. We've already got like 5 deep dives.
Server Sola says Viva Pinata.
That's just the drinking.
Viva Pinata.
For sure. This is the thing.
We still have Perfect Dark to go through, and like
I need Elder Scrolls to have enough time to implement all the AI that they're going to implement into all those characters, being able to talk to you. If you throw on a mic, you're going to be able to conversate with all those people. Is going to be
oh my god, crazy, yeah, that's wild.
I know they're going to.
I can't wait for next year's freaking showcase. We just had this year's showcase.
We see how crazy we are. We're so
like, oh my god,
greedy fucks.
We can't
nothing. We're never satisfied. Oh my
god,
never.
And one that just like never Talos Ray put in Splinter Cell. Like, could you imagine that being locked by Xbox? Not locked away from other people.
Oh, Talos was good.
Talos was
what if they work with?
It would never.
What if they work with Ubisoft to make that an Xbox published game?
So this is the one thing about that slot, right? That slot is always going to be saved for shit that needs explaining, right?
Yep.
They're not going to. No, there's no explaining for Splinter Cell. It's like that's just back, bitches. Woohoo! That's it. It's gonna be dope. They'll have a trailer. It'll be cool. But like they needed to
say that. Yeah, Black Ops 6.
Outer but it needed to explain Omni movement.
Grounded 2.
Something that they want to take some time and kind of like really dive into.
We have no idea what Splinter Cell's gonna do, right? So like
if that's real.
That, by the way, could be another launch game that comes out along with the Xbox. I mean, just think about like the ridiculousness of what we're getting like next year. It's just insane.
Listen, everybody has to clip this right here and save it. Machine XP
what did he say?
Says he will donate 50 gifted members if he's wrong, and that it's not. He says it'll be
Fable.
Playground Games Direct, and they are going to do
interesting. They want Horizon and Fable. Okay.
Well,
the Horizon and Fable.
Clip it.
Okay. I can't disagree that good, by the way. That would be a fantastic direct. Those two would be awesome if they are coming out latter part of the year next year. That would not be bad. Any one of those are valid. We have no idea
for that. I mean that when he put it that way, it kind of like, I mean, I could see that, right? You do a Fable, you do a Forza, you do start with Fable, and then all of a sudden you fucking hear the engine and the tires, or they just show a place that just looks like a regular world. And you're like, man, what game is this going to be? And then the fucking cars just fly by.
So now, interestingly enough, we have not gotten.
Becca thinks it's Forza Horizon.
Forza Horizon. We have not gotten an actual confirmation that Forza Horizon 6 is coming. Yet he went ahead and said Gears Forza coming, right?
He confirmed it right now. Like he's letting everybody know. Like,
he did be leak that there is a Forza game coming next year, right? So
it's going to be Horizon. Halo. It's definitely not Motorsport.
I hope so.
But I think for him, you got to remember the caliber, and this is why I'm telling you, Halo's going to be the one, because Halo is forever going to be the pinnacle, right? Whether it sells the most or not, doesn't matter. This guy right here, where is he? Chief, you can't see him in the goddamn picture. What's wrong? Come on, man. This guy right here. Yeah, him. Chief. Come on, bro. He's always going to be important no matter what. So they're going to give him his roses. All right, it's just what it is.
That's his spot, I think. But
what's happening?
Cage wants us all to know that his nipples are hard. I think it's from the conversation.
That is a wild situation.
I just figure, something that should be highlighted. All right, deal with that, Cage. Handle that.
You got to figure that out in a different way. All right. So let me we're gonna move on. Okay. Because honestly, I don't think the other stuff are that long of a thing. I think we'll be able to bang out most of the stuff. I feel
That's what she said.
Oh, I feel good about it. Hold on.